Good morning everybody and welcome back to the weekly recap. In the weekly recap I like to go over any news related to the old school RuneScape community this week. Now this week we have a couple of really interesting changes coming through, including a few long overdue changes to PvP, as well as we got a completely new blog for Mahogany Homes or construction contracts. Now on top of that we'll be going over the weekly Q&A with the moderators, pulling out anything interesting there. Normally I'd do a little recap on community news, but honestly I don't think anything too interesting happened this week, except for that guy who got 99 rune crafting with earth runes. Whew. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and let's get started. Now first up here, let's have a look at today's game update. On August 6th we got some changes to PvP, including some changes to Bounty Hunter, Last Man Standing, and even the Revenant Caves. Now once again they are making another fairly drastic change to Bounty Hunter, as it's going to be attempt number 4 or 3, I don't know, I've kind of lost count. Now they state here that, as you know, we spent a great deal of time adjusting Bounty Hunter over the last year in an attempt to make PvP more rewarding without allowing bots and farmers to gain a foothold. Unfortunately, we have failed to do so. These latest changes are drastic, but ultimately they are necessary for the health of both PvP and the wider game. And so anyway, they're going to be implementing a new rule system. The current task system is going to remain in place, however the hotspots and tasks have been removed. However, you will still have to pay a fee to be assigned a target. Now one thing a lot of people are asking for, and it looks like it has been implemented here, is a PvP world style PJ timer on Bounty Hunter worlds. That's probably the #1 request for Bounty Hunter, so it is good to see that Jagex has added that. However, on top of the PJ timer, Bounty Hunters will also be protected for 20 seconds after they kill a target. Now the rewards that come from Bounty Hunter have been the main issue with it, and for the most part all of the main rewards have been moved to Last Man Standing. The only reward that is going to be exclusive to Bounty Hunter is now going to be the ghoulish style Bounty Hunter hats, which you can unlock by getting a certain amount of Bounty Hunter kills. For example, the Hunter's Honor and the Rogue's Revenge hat used to cost 2.5 million Bounty Hunter points, but now they'll be given away for free from Ferox. So essentially in the current state there aren't any additional rewards from Bounty Hunter, or at least none that would offer an incentive beyond the loot you're just going to get from your opponent by default, so there is no additional wealth being created through Bounty Hunter. So was this a drastic change? Yes, but it has somewhat been proven in the past that Jagex can't really handle gold farmers like this, and they will continue to remain a problem unfortunately as long as there is incentive to do so. Okay, so next up here we have Last Man Standing, which is going to get a couple of changes. And now first up here they're tackling one of the most common forms of griefing, which I didn't know was a thing, and it's kind of funny. Previously, if a player logged out mid-combat, you wouldn't be awarded a kill. So now they're changing that. So if you're fighting someone and they log out mid-combat, you will be awarded a kill as well as all of the related benefits. They're also going to be tackling boosting and farming. Now to earn points in LMS, you now have to at least kill one player. And they're also rejigging the point system so that each point will now be worth an average of 15,000 to 20,000 GP when exchanged in the shop. Now next up here we have the Revenant Caves, and the changes here are to attempt to dissuade Revenant protection and clan takeover of the Revenant Cave. Now in my opinion, Revenant clan protection is kind of similar to people who abuse Bounty Hunter for points. Obviously, I'm not talking about bots. Essentially, it's kind of a gray area where they're not technically doing anything wrong. They're just kind of abusing existing mechanics in a way that weren't intended. Now, it's been shown that Jagex is not able to deal with this, so the only way to really tackle it is to nerf it. So in the case of the Revenant Caves, they are given a fairly small nerf. They're going to be nerfing the damage reduction stat on the Bracelet of Etherium. Essentially, used to have 100% damage reduction. Now they're reducing it to 75%. So you are going to take a bit of damage now in the Revenant Caves, where previously you would take no damage. And in addition, they've rebalanced the Revenant drop table, and the average loot has been reduced by about 20%. Now they say the aims of these changes are to prevent certain groups from profiteering from the Revenant Caves by forcing players to pay protection fees to enjoy the content. So this seems to be the first stage of a change to the Revenant Caves, because below they say you might remember that the Ferox Enclave blog promised some changes to the caves themselves to make them feel less artificial, and those changes are still in the works, so stay tuned for more information down the line. So overall, a pretty minor nerf. I'm not sure if that's going to really dissuade the current Revenant takeover by clans, but I'm interested to see what changes they have planned in the future, and hopefully the future changes combined with this will set things right. Anyway, that is it for today's game update. Only other notable thing here is the next week's game update is actually going to be on Wednesday. That's actually going to be a mental note for me because I always forget. Okay, so next up here we have a poll blog on Mahogany Homes, which is going to be a alternative construction training method that I am really excited about as someone who has tendonitis and never really wants to train construction the regular arm breaking way. Now the new method is going to be called Mahogany Homes, or alternatively known as construction contracts, and will make you travel around Gildenor looking for different home contracts to complete that will award construction experience as well as carpenter points. Now the option to train construction through Mahogany Homes is going to be available right from level 1. The only actual requirement for this is to own a player-owned house, which only costs 1000 GP, so that's pretty minor. Now there's going to be 4 different levels of Mahogany Homes. The beginner level is going to be level 1, using regular planks. The novice level is going to be level 20, using oak planks. Adept level is going to be construction level 50 with teak planks, and expert is finally going to be level 70 with mahogany planks. So overall, definitely a mid-level training method. Now Mahogany Homes is meant to be a much slower training method, however it's also going to be a lot cheaper and a lot less click intensive. Now they haven't stated any experience rates exactly. It's hard to make a guess on it because the XP rates for construction are so wide. You can get anywhere from 50k an hour to almost 1 million XP an hour. Now each tier of Mahogany Homes is going to be more complex in terms of the time spent traveling around and the supplies that are required. That's going to make you travel around to different parts of Gildenor, including Varrock, Ardoin, and Hesidius, but there's other locations as well. So essentially you talk to an NPC, get a contract, go finish up the contract, and once you've done, you'll receive a reward in the form of carpenter points as well as construction experience. And then essentially you repeat that over and over again. Now you are allowed to use the NPC contact spell, which I think is definitely going to be a very important part of the training method, so having the Lunar Spellbook in a higher magic level is probably going to be required. Now on top of the experience, you will get access to the Carpenter points, which can be spent on a couple of different rewards. Then next over here we have the Carpenter's outfit, which is not going to be the same as the one you get from the Tower of Life. The Tower of Life one was purely cosmetic. However, the new Carpenter's outfit, which is going to be obtained through Mahogany Homes, will be similar to every other skilling outfit in the game. Now, essentially, equipping any piece of the set will give an increase to the experience earned from construction, pretty much any activity that requires a saw. Once you have the full set, though, you're going to get a maximum reward of 2.5% extra experience. The outfit will be untradeable and is going to be sold for a high amount of Carpenter points. Now, with how quick construction is already, I'm not sure how vital the Carpenter outfit will be, but still a pretty cool addition. Next up here we have the plank sack. The plank sack is unsurprisingly a sack that stores planks. Now the plank sack can hold up to 28 planks or a full inventory, and you can store any type of plank in them. It's an untradeable reward and it's going to cost you a medium amount of Carpenter points. This will mainly be used for the construction contracts training method and most likely not really used for conventional construction training methods, as the butler already does a pretty good job of it. Next up here we have an equipable saw, which is pretty self-explanatory. Essentially you can just equip a saw now. Again, it would be untradeable and would cost a medium amount of Carpenter points. This one actually is probably kind of useful, just save you an inventory spot when you're training construction either through the new contracts or conventionally. Next up here we have Hesidius wall kits, which I really like. I think this is a perfect place to offer a wall kit, and honestly I'd kind of like to see maybe a couple more of them. Again, the Hesidius wall kit is going to be untradeable and will cost you a high amount of Carpenter points. And finally here there are construction supply crates, which is going to be filled with a random amount of construction materials, which could include oak planks, teak planks, mahogany planks, but also bolts of cloth, limestone bricks, steel bars, and soft clay. Honestly, I think I prefer maybe just offering planks. I feel like those other things are already pretty worthless. Now each crate would cost a medium amount of Carpenter points and the supplies inside would be tradable. Anyway, that is it for the Mahogany Homes poll blog. Now this was a user submitted idea by Benos the Great, so good job on him for actually getting something pushed through to the actual game. I'm pretty excited about this and hopefully we get it soon. Okay, and finally here I want to do a quick recap of the weekly Q&A. Now first up here, there's a couple questions about the ideation days. Essentially, that used to be what was called TAP, essentially just personal time to work on an independent project. Kieran is working on some fishing stuff, probably the new fishing boss, as well as offering just general quality of life changes to fishing. And Mod Acorn was working on the new birthday event, where you could be tasked by Duke Horatio in calming some monkeys that were invited over for dinner. You have to make traps and take them off humans, if I understood that correctly. Next up here, why did he not release the experience rates for Mahogany Homes? Well, they said it's very difficult to give an accurate experience rate. First, they need to determine exactly how costly it is, how engaging the content's going to be, how much time we're going to spend running. Kiernan said, though, that don't expect it to be 500k an hour, don't expect it to be 300k an hour experience. So we could be looking at somewhere between 100 and 200k an hour maybe, if not less. When is the Leagues 2 blog going to be released? Hopefully this month. What are your thoughts on repolling stackable clue scrolls? The community is still a bit divided on this. A straw poll was about 46% yes, 54% no. When is the Twisted Ancestral Kit drop rate going to be released? Not yet. Will the new fishing boss have a pet? The answer is yes, they would love to add a new pet for the fishing boss. What are your thoughts on implementing a tax on the Grand Exchange? Mod Kiernan says, in hindsight, they might have added it, but they don't feel the need to add it now. If they ever felt like it was needed and there was too much gold in the economy, they might implement it, but not soon. And finally here, would you ever consider adding a permanent Twisted League world? The answer from Mod Flippy is that it sounds like a lot of fun initially, and being the one who developed it, he would definitely like to play it again, but they feel like it could take away from the fun of something being seasonal, and the excitement over leagues might be diminished a bit by having it around all the time. Anyway guys, that is it for today's video and the weekly recap. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Now before I go here, I want to thank Heathen Lock Games, Double Talk, Nathan Ashworth, and the rest of my members over on YouTube. Thank you for making the dream possible, and I really appreciate your support. If you're looking for a way to support the channel, becoming a YouTube member is an excellent way to do so. You'll get access to a custom Discord role, emojis when I stream, and being mentioned in the description of my videos at the end of the video or personally addressed. Anyway, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.